I always thought that I would wait till I was married.
I got pregnant when I was 15, and it was a shock. I just remember crying in school. I found out in school that I was pregnant.
I only had sex once, and I became pregnant. I remember the night that we told my parents. I forced my boyfriend at the time to be there, and my parents are sitting across from me, and I just lost it. And I just said, I'm so sorry, I'm pregnant, I'm so sorry.
I started having my first significant relationship when I was just going into my sophomore year of high school.
My high school girlfriend and I had gone together for 10 months and then gave our virginity over to each other.
Finding ourselves sleeping with each other and in a sexual relationship where I never thought I would be in the first place, because I intentionally tried to go off one way. But it was kind of like that snowflake that became an avalanche.
Before I found out I was pregnant, he would say that he was going to leave his, child's mom, and that he wanted to marry me.
I was 14, turning 15 in middle school, and he was a basketball star. And so we was together, and we would have sex on and off, and finally I did get pregnant. And he didn't have nothing to do with me after that.
Well, when I first got pregnant, I was 15, and I don't know, I was kind of young, of course, but it was kind of shocking in a way. I don't know, I didn't really know how to handle it.
And I lost my virginity when I was around 13, and I struggled up and down with I'm going to be abstinent, no I'm not, yes I am, no I'm not.
I thought I would never have sex before I got married. I really wish I had, stuck to my ground.
Well, wish that.
I remember sitting in, health class and saying, oh, I'm going to wait till I'm married, and there's no way. And then I met him going into my freshman year, and it was sexual right away.
I wanted to feel close to somebody. I wanted to feel love to somebody, and so that's why I was just like, okay, to make him happy, I would do it. And it hurted me in the long run. It didn't hurt him. He didn't even care.
He was about 16 or 17, I believe, a little bit older than me. I ended up losing my virginity, and I didn't talk to him since that day. We just never talked since then.
And some people, they just don't care, and they think that there's no consequences to it. But the truth is, 1 + 1 is 2, whether you believe it or not.
It was something that I never thought would happen, because I always thought, oh no, pregnancy only happens to the girls who sleep around all the time.
He said, I didn't want no baby anyway. He was like, that's what you deserve. I don't deserve that.
After I told him I was pregnant, he became very distant. And it was basically like, oh, well, you're tainted now. I don't want you.
And I called him at the hospital, and he didn't come up. He didn't come up. He didn't care. It hurted me so bad.
It was just kind of like a battle, because I started young, and I had a lot of temptation. And at that point, I was kind of dating older men, and they fed into my mind like, yeah, you're supposed to do this if you want to be with me. And I kind of felt used, like nobody wanted me, and I felt kind of like discouraged, like, dang, maybe is this how sex is supposed to be? Like, is it you're supposed to feel like this afterwards? And I felt like that for a while, like maybe that's just how you're supposed to feel automatically when you have sex. Like, you're supposed to feel like nothing.
I've been a guy that's felt the same as a lot of those girls, of like just being in the shower and wanting to be washed off from what just happened, just because it felt that ugly.
Oh, the possibility of getting pregnant, or STDs or AIDS, or I wasn't thinking about that. I thought it could never happen to me, but I got pregnant.
And so when I found out I was pregnant, I told him, and he just changed the whole story. He was like, well, you know how much older I am than you. Your parents are going to put me in jail. If you really love me, you'll get rid of this baby.
The emotional fallout from a premarital sexual relationship is huge. It's so much more than you think it's going to be. You start to question everything about yourself. Your self-worth goes down. You don't feel nearly as important. It basically shook me to the core. I had to completely reevaluate who I was. And I didn't like who I was. I wasn't making the right choices for myself. I wasn't headed in the direction that I wanted my life to go.
There's a lot of fun and goofy films and TV and music, but at the end of it all, a lot of the messages are semi-lies that are just saying, just go out and do this, and there's no repercussions. STDs won't affect you, pregnancy won't affect you.
So when the baby actually got here, that was a smack in the face right there. It really showed me how sex pays off.
I made the decision because I don't know what I'd do if I have another baby, get an STD, or anything like that. I don't have insurance, medical, so both that would be a big financial thing on me, and I just want to be able to handle it. So being abstinent is a way to guarantee that I won't have to face those problems.
I told myself from this day, I have to be abstinent. I don't want to go through that anymore. I knew I was young, but I knew this is not what it's supposed to be like. That's not love. It's not.
It was just really hard at home, like crying every night, and there were a lot of fights in the house, and my mom would leave when I came home so that she didn't have to be around me because it was so hard for her, and I feel terrible that I hurt my family so much. I just chose abstinence from then on out because I didn't want to have to deal with all the pressures and all the emotions of all the emotions that sex brings. It was a bad relationship, and he was very verbally abusive to me, and you just don't understand the emotions that go with sex because it's made for a man and a woman when they're married.
After my son was born, I decided to make an abstinence decision. I'm not going to put myself in that situation again.
I asked my parents, could I come back home? I made in my mind that I was going to leave him alone, and I did, and I was abstinent.
Speaking from being married now, my husband was pure until we got married. I struggled with the guilt of knowing that I couldn't give myself to him totally like he gave himself totally to me.
Abstinence means staying pure, but it also, you can be a renewed virgin in a sense that even if you have had sex, you can stop and you can still stay pure from that moment on until you are married.
Getting back to the idea that abstinence isn't realistic, some of my thoughts have leaned that way before, but I really like the way you paint it as it may be the most realistic thing of avoiding the stresses of STDs and pregnancy and the emotional abuse. It's a relieving thing to say, hey, I'm committed to not dealing with any of that until I'm committed, until I'm married.
Now that I've been abstinent, it makes me feel really good. Like I said, I'm not in mood swings. I'm not depressed here or there, happy sometimes, sad sometimes. It's just, I'm really happy with myself now that I'm not having sex because I can just focus on me and not have to focus on trying to please somebody else in physical ways.
Making an abstinence decision has definitely, changed my outlook on myself because I feel better as a person.
Not being involved in physical sexual activities really helps me emotionally and physically. I've been more clear-minded now that I've been abstinent.
I feel more stronger and more capable of, being in a stronger relationship with a man now and, knowing my boundaries and, lines that I can and can't cross.
Yes, I have a lot of regrets about having sex, but there's nothing I can do about it now besides focus on being abstinent now. That's what really matters is now. The past, we can leave that behind and focus on our abstinence now and my future and what it'll hold with being abstinent.
It's one of those type of things where if you could change it, start now. The healing process starts when you take the stand and say, hey, I'm going to wait.
Women who have already been sexually active, don't give up because you're worth way more than you think you are. If you're having sex now, you probably feel the same way that I did, feeling sad and depressed, like, dang, but the guy makes you feel like it's okay. But in your mind, you know that it's not okay, but just don't give up on the struggle. You can do it. You're really worth something, and your husband deserves you.
We've spent these last few minutes hearing from young people who've made decisions to remain abstinent until marriage. You've heard the reasons for their decisions and the benefits that they find from being abstinent. If you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to join with other young people in exploring the benefits of abstinence, call us or contact us at our website to join Plan A for abstinence.